passion in this group of women is remarkable, and it shines. The community is so grateful because of it. So let's give one more round of applause. I'm only going to say a few words, which if you know me, might surprise you. The need is great. So you saw the stats. 50% of us in a lifetime will have a diagnosable mental illness. That's not them and us. That's all of us. That's our sisters, our brothers, our mothers, our fathers. It might be ourselves. That's our daughters, our sons, our children, our neighbors. Poor mental health days, I don't know if you caught that, but 8% of people in Sheboygan County, that's 9,000 people that are struggling right around us out of the 115,000 people that live here. And children are more anxious than ever. And what we do at MHA is we really do serve on the spectrum. So that's prevention, intervention, all the way to postvention. And there is so much beauty in recovery, and that's a lot of the work we do. Those 9,000 folks that struggle, they're not alone. So you all here tonight are helping to say there's no shame and blame and stigma. It's been incredible in the 6.5 years I've been at MHA to see that change, and even nationally. And so what I'm really most proud about is this upstream idea. What can we do early on, right? To really give students skills that they need. And so that's where we kind of developed our Mindful Classroom initiative, where we go in and teach these beautiful tools to children to exactly do what Mike Ring said and what my good friend Lisa is going to say. So really, I wanted to bring someone who has personal experience with MHA programming that has seen the benefits, not only on the students, but teachers. We can all give a round of applause for teachers, because Lisa Biemann has been a family therapist, a parent educator, a friend to me. She's done those other things for 30 years. I've only known her for maybe 4. But she's also been a school counselor at Grant Elementary. So come on up, and why don't we give Lisa a big round of
bridesmaid's dress. I'm more like mother of the bride, kind of. If I did, it would be from 1984, so you don't really want to see it. My name is Lisa Biemann. I'm the school counselor at Grant. And in order to explain what Mental Health America's Mindful Classroom Initiative has meant to Grant School, I need to take you back in time. Back in the mid-1980s, I began my career in residential treatment at a facility for emotionally disturbed children and adolescents. And back in that time, children with severe mental health and family dysfunction issues were removed from their troubled homes, and the children received help at our center and centers like ours, while their families received help back in their homes until it was determined that the family could be reunited. The results were not great, and the cost was enormous. Fast forward 35 years, and those facilities no longer exist, except for extreme cases, and often those are in the form of corrections facilities. In the 21st century, those traumatized children are part of our mainstream classroom life. They need as much now as they needed then, but now it falls to teachers and to myself to be that team. The level of need has changed life at school for everyone. Those struggling students sit beside Gracie, sit beside students whose lives are more stable, Ona and Gracie, and students from a more stable life have to work hard to maintain her focus and her calm with her little time-bomb friend sitting next to her. Oh, and they need to learn reading, writing, math, science. We are good teachers, and we have dedicated our lives to this vocation, and we work very hard, and we take our role very seriously. We understand that all children need to feel loved and safe in order to be able to learn. But the world has been working against us, folks. We've kept doing what has always worked. We love them and we teach them, and this was the experience I had, and you had, and my children had at grade school, who are now young adults, in 15, 20, 25 years ago. Caring, compassionate teachers made a difference in all of our lives. But now our world has changed, and what worked then wasn't enough. We are losing kids at a very young age to despair, drugs, violence, and suicide. I myself, as a longtime professional, have nearly despaired. How can we keep doing what we've always done if it's no longer enough? What do we need to do differently to stem the tide and change the course? Our kids who struggle come from homes that struggle. How are we as an elementary school going to set them on a better course so that they could move on and go to middle school and high school and graduate with life skills and be able to build adult lives that are meaningful, productive, and become healthy, stable parents themselves? Sometimes it feels like if I just keep my head down and do the best I can this hour and next week and next semester and through this school year, it's going to be okay. But when I look up, I can see a future where our kindergartners or 3rd, 4th, 5th graders are the parents at grade school. They will be the adults of our society. We need to understand that our job is to teach the life skills in order to be successful adults, and that has become a very tough gig. Several years ago, my principal, Jim Renzelman, and I began to read and hear and learn about using mindfulness in schools. We asked Kate to come and lead a professional development session for our staff. And in 2 years, what we learned literally changed grade school. At 2 o'clock on Wednesday afternoons, teachers are tired and overwhelmed and fully aware of the huge pile of work back in our classrooms. We do not want to be at a staff meeting, and we do not suffer fools gladly. For 2 hours, Kate explained the concepts and the practices and the neuroscience behind mindfulness. She had us practice mindfulness, and that was the key. Not just to hear about it, but to do it and to feel the impact it could have, even in that very small dose. And a transformation had begun. That same year, we had Tricia bring the Mindful Classrooms Initiative into 5 of our classrooms, 2 20-minute sessions per week for 10 weeks. In a world of high-stakes testing and perish or perform pressure on teachers, that is a lot of instructional minutes to devote to sitting quietly and breathing. But those 5 classes had many students from trauma backgrounds, some of our toughest behavior kids. These kids and the kids around them and their teachers were struggling to keep their equilibrium. And if it was going to work with these kids, it was going to work with everyone, and it did. Of course, it was not an overnight transformation. It was a watershed experience. We had begun on a new path that felt as if it could lead in a new direction, a path that would allow us to teach kids to settle their brains and bodies so they could learn, and to settle our brains and bodies so we could teach. At the same time, because of our experience with MHA, the staff began a book study about bringing mindfulness into our own lives as teachers, and that's the wonderful thing we learned from MHA. Learning mindfulness helps our students, and it helps us, their teachers, so that we can be better people and better teachers. It's a win-win. And the movement grew. Staff members went to mindfulness courses over the summer, including both personal practice and curriculum training. MHA came back in the summer to do more extensive staff training, which became Mindful Educators series. And the following year, between the 2 semesters, Rachel and Tricia from MHA brought 20 sessions to all 22 of our classrooms. More teachers attended training this summer because as much as we would love to have our friends from MHA become full-time mindfulness coaches at grade school, they have other schools to transform, and we need to assume our own leadership. We now have a mindful moment every day with the morning announcements, and Tricia comes once a month to work with a whole grade at a time. We call it Mindful Mondays. Imagine a group of 75 fifth graders or second graders or kindergartners sitting silently in the gym, focusing on their breathing. It's amazing to see and experience, although I have to admit that I have my eyes closed as I am practicing along with them. In October, I sat with the fifth graders who were that third grade class in our first year with MHA. They are now fifth graders, and what they learned about mindfulness has become a daily practice. When a new student starts at Graham, they look around like, this is different, not what I'm used to. But it has changed us, and it has changed their lives. Mental Health America of Sheboygan changes people's lives.